Have you ever decided to stop thinking about something that's bothering you, something negative that's irritating you? How difficult do you find that? Well, in this video, I want to share with you how I manage negative thoughts, freeing my mind for more positive, creative thinking. The other day I learned a new word and I stopped to think about it because it resonated with me. It connects some ideas that I've been thinking about recently and something that I've been practicing in some form or another for most of my life. And the word is apatheia. Not apathy, but apatheia. They're two very similar sounding words, but with quite different meanings. And the real difference really is in whether you care or not. Apathy implies a lack of emotion or caring. It's the absence or suppression of passion, emotion, or excitement. Whereas apatheia has been described as a staunch disinterest in unimportant matters. Apatheia concerns conscious choices about our thoughts and about our emotional responses. Whereas conscious choice does not really go hand in hand with apathy. Apathy just happens. With apatheia, it's not so much about detaching from your thoughts and your emotions, but choosing how you respond to them rather than reacting to them. Because if you become really detached from your thoughts and your emotions, you're never going to have a really good laugh or a good cry. And sometimes this is really the best response to something that's happening. As a teenager, I can remember deciding that I wanted to become more responsive rather than reactive, particularly in highly emotive situations. And so this is something that I've had an appreciation for many years, but not really ever understood fully. And it's certainly an ongoing process of learning and putting into practice. The concept of apatheia, the disinterest in unimportant things, was practiced apparently in ancient Greece. It's also a large part of Buddhist and other Eastern religious thinking and teaching. Westerners tend to be more individualistic in our thinking, whereas Asians tend to put more emphasis on family, community, and nature, so their responses towards potential conflicts tend to be more passive. And this is one reason that you don't tend to see Thai people really losing their cool in difficult situations, particularly in public. Sure, it does happen. Keep watching because I'll share a story of an experience I had soon, but it's certainly not so predominant as it is in Western cultures. There really is nothing new about apatheia, but as we practice it, you'll find that it really can help us to enjoy life and our relationships in this modern world that we live in. In a recent video, I talked about how important it is to be focused and not so easily distracted. And this too ties in with apatheia, focusing on what's important and remaining disinterested in what is unimportant in our lives. And we can consciously learn to distance ourselves from the negative impact of things like social media and news and people who irritate us. We can choose not to let these things clutter our minds. At first I found this quite challenging, but as I practiced it and remained focused, I found my responses to those around me and my environment easier to manage. I started to make a conscious, concentrated effort to decide what really mattered to me. And then I decided to remain indifferent to the things that didn't really matter to me, whether they were events that were external that happened around me or emotions and thoughts that are internal. And as apatheia became my habit, I stopped reacting so much as choosing how I wanted to respond. And this comes more naturally from my subconscious the more I practice this method of choice and thinking. And by practicing our thinking and our emotional responses to day-to-day life, especially in situations where emotions run high in myself or in others around me, I find it breathes a real freshness into my daily life. And as I said at the start, I've learned a new word that really resonated with me, and it did so because it's something that I've been trying to work into my life for many, many years without even realizing that it was a thing. So I thought back and thought, no, there's got to be something I can relate this to. And there was a story. I was driving one day in Chiang Mai. I hadn't been here for very long, and in fairly busy traffic, and I heard a screech of brakes and a bang behind me. And I thought, oh, that was close. And then all of a sudden, there was another bang as a car rear-ended me. Somebody had shunted the car behind me into the back of me. We got out, sorted it out. The young lady that had caused the problem was very apologetic and was immediately busy sorting out insurance details and things like that. The woman in the car in between us was a Thai lady. She had a daughter, maybe 11 or 12-year-old girl in the car with her, and she was freaking out. She was just losing her cool, and I couldn't quite understand why. The car was damaged, nobody was hurt, and the police were coming, the insurance were called, there was no real big issue with it, but this woman was so agitated and aggravated, it was really quite sad. And at one point she stopped and spoke to me in English, and she said, "Why are you so calm?" And I said, "Well, what is the problem really? You're not hurt, are you? Your daughter's not hurt, and the cars can be fixed, and there's no dispute from the person that caused the problem. Why should I be anything other than calm? We'll get it sorted out." And she was quite perplexed and just sort of walked off. In situations like this, I find it's really important to keep my calm, keep my cool, and just let things play out. But in keeping calm, everything is going to get sorted out much, much more easily. And I did notice in this situation too that the daughter had removed herself from the proximity of her mother and her mother's angst. And I thought, oh, good for you, girl. And in these days, it's so easy for so much of our focus to become concentrated on things that are truly unimportant, both in high stress situations like a traffic accident, or in other ways that our emotional well-being and our mindful well-being is distracted from what is truly most important in our lives. And by changing our thinking, by learning to respond rather than to react whatever we're consuming on social media or through the news or through other forms of entertainment, it can make our lives a lot more pleasurable and a lot richer. And as we learn to do this and put it into practice, we naturally progress towards making more measured, meaningful responses at times when emotions might otherwise extract negative reactions from us. The practice of apatheia offers us the opportunity for a greater inner peace and resilience. I hope you're encouraged by these thoughts that I've had and shared, and if you'd like to see another video that's connected with these ideas, please check out this one next. Thanks very much for watching.